Hello, my YouTube followers. Today I have a very interesting topic because I want to share some of my personal experiences that I also want to share in a book that I will be writing. And these are experiences that I have in my life and that will help you in your life. And this is one of the greatest lessons that I have learned, is to surrender and to lay your worries down. Now you see, I've been growing up as a child in not really a religious family. I wasn't born and raised in a great Christian family, so I didn't grow up with all this. The only thing that I learned in my childhood was the Lord's Prayer. And I would go to church by myself, even though my other family members weren't going, to just find a way to connect to God, to really see what God is all about. And then I just couldn't. The messages were so over my head that I didn't understand. I just didn't know. So at the age of probably 11 or 12, I decided that I will become a pastor. Because once I become a pastor, I had this thinking that all pastors are connected to God and they understand God and have a relationship with God and understand how practically they can apply what is being taught in the scriptures to their own lives. So I was convinced that this was probably the only way to get connected to God. And as a child, as a small child, especially until I was about 13, 14 years old, I was very sickly. I was sick all of the time. And I used to have a reoccurring dream that would just not stop, come over and over and over, especially when I was sick. And I had this dream that I was in the tunnel of nothingness. There was just nothing. But there was such an urge and an importance in me, laid in me, to look for something that was even greater than I would perceive as being God. It was so important, and I would be trying to find it. And it was like a horror dream almost, because I couldn't find it in my dream. And I know it is God that spoke to me already from the beginning on, that I had a fire and I wanted to know more about God. But on the contrary, I also had a very carnal family that lived like the world would. So, and since nobody was there to explain to me how I could apply any kind of scriptures, I mean, some of the things that Jesus taught, I just didn't know how it would be applying to my life, how I could take that into my day-to-day life. And I was thinking about it, and I was actually praying about it. And when I was 16, I had the vision of I was asleep, but I wasn't really asleep. It was a very, very harsh vision of me being shown how it is to live in hell. And I could feel the pain, and I could feel the heat, and I could see the suffering, and it is really undescribable how painful this place was. And God was telling me exactly that if I'm not following His plan, this is where I'm going to go. And I woke up covered in sweat. And it wasn't like waking up out of a sleep. You slowly wake up. It was, I had this vision. Then everything went dark and I woke up. And a few days later, I had another vision of me sitting. And a lot of times I have visions where I sit in the subway. I have no idea why. But I was sitting there. And there was this old lady who has already died that came to me, and she touched me, saying that I'm on the right path. And as she touched me, such an urge of love came through my body that I have never experienced before in my life. And I could not get mad. I'm sure no matter what happened, It lasted for about 3 weeks through, and I was just like walking on clouds and just being happy and fulfilled and in this love. And once in my life later on, I had an even stronger experience of this love, the love of God that can flow through you, and you are so overwhelmed and amazed. And through many times in my life, since I was born and raised very carnal, and that is not an excuse, but I didn't know better, and a lot of people were telling me, well, everybody is doing it, so don't worry how you're living. Everybody is doing this. And even though I had a lot of the times the urge that, no, it doesn't feel right, but if everybody says it's okay, then I felt like, well, maybe that's okay. But it isn't. And this way I have experienced in my life really crucial pain. It wasn't that I have lived from the beginning on the lifestyle that I'm having now, that I'm walking with God. And I honestly have to say that my mission and my path right now is the same as Jesus asked once the disciples, you also want to leave? And the disciples answered, where would we go? I have the same thing. I will keep on going to the end because there's nothing else. I have nowhere else to go than to do the will of God and work for Him. There's nothing else. There's not plan B, plan C, plan D. Oh, if this doesn't work out, it will work out because it has to, because there's nothing else. And that's how you know that you have a plan from God, and this is a calling, because it is so strong that you cannot go back. There's no backup plan. No backup plan for your life. And I have been through good relationships, bad relationships, pain and hurt, so many things that I have experienced in my life. And silence, I have experienced great silence of God, not being able to hear, to speak, even though I was on my knees day to day praying to God, but nothing happened. And the greatest thing that was a lot of the times happened is that I surrendered completely. And I came to the point where I said, okay, God, I'm not hearing from you, but I'm living for you, and I'm just going to keep on praying and doing whatever you want me to do, what I know to do right now, even though I don't know the future plans, but I know what to do right now, to live for you, to worship you, to praise you, to live for you. I'm just going to keep doing what I know to do the rest of my life, if that's what you want. And I surrender everything else, all the worries about everything else. I remember that I had a situation in my life that was so painful, that one of my children, I was about to have to give to my ex-husband, who was very abusive, and I was living in the United States, and I didn't know if I'm gonna see, if I give him for the summer, I don't know if I would see him again. Yes, I lived part of my life, a horrible life. I've experienced horrible things in my life, and one building block at the time changed these things. In 2 weeks of the fear of, if I have to give my 2-year-old son to my ex-husband, I might not see him ever again, almost destroyed me. Nobody enjoyed being with me. I mean, it was horrible to live with me because I cried all the time. I was in a bad mood, and I didn't enjoy the 2 weeks that I might have only with my son. I didn't enjoy it. It was not that the situation, anything has happened yet. It was all the drama in my mind. Unnecessary drama that you don't need to experience. Most of the hardest dramas that we experience are in our head. Only being made up, the stories, the horror movies that we make up in our head. And I remember cleaning my kitchen floor one day, and I came to the point where I said, it was 3 days before that day, and I told God, okay, I surrender, I give up. Whatever you want to do, your will, not mine, and everything will be okay. And you love my son more than I even do, so it's all in your hands. And 5 minutes later, I'm getting a phone call from my attorney saying, don't worry about it. Your ex-husband, he has an order from the police. He's being searched for, a warrant. He cannot leave the state. You don't have to turn your son over, ever. Everything canceled because I surrendered. And was the drama necessary? The pain, the suffering? I did that to myself because my mind went crazy on hypothetical things that never happened. The drama never happened. It never came to that. I could have surrendered at day one, but I held on to it and wouldn't let go. And in a lot of circumstances that I have experienced, and the drama and the suffering that has been out there and in my life, if you are just letting go of the drama in your head, you will live a much happier life. Trusting God, because faith is trust, and faith is a choice. Nobody, hardly ever, is telling you that faith is a choice. If I come into the room and I turn on the light, I have the faith and the belief that if I turn on that switch, even though I don't see the power going through all the cords, I have the belief and the faith that the light will turn on. And I'm actually shocked if it doesn't, if something happened to my light bulb or there was a power surge. I have the faith every single day. In my chair, I sit down in my chair and I have the faith, the trust that the chair will hold me, the couch, the bed, whatever. I don't even question that. And that is the kind of faith we need to have in God, despite on seeing Him. I believe in electricity. It is flowing. I can't see it though. I can't see the wind, but I can feel it. It is there. And where does it go? I don't know. But it's there. God is there too. God loves you and wants to help you in your every single day life. I'm a survivor. I have experienced many times over. The second I surrendered and the second I let go, I had peace in my mind, I had peace in my heart, and everything else surrounded me changed for the good. If I can do it and I live through it, you can also. Because faith is not something that you can see. You don't have faith in something that you see. That you can't call that faith. It's a decision to have faith. And it's a decision that you can do every single day and every minute of your life. And you can turn things around anytime you want to. It's up to you. It's your choice. To surrender is giving up the fight, being able to let go, and that's not weakness. it is actually it takes so much more strength to say, I do what I can and I trust you with the rest. Your will be done, not mine. And to be okay with whatever happens, because God is not your wishing well. He is working, He is helping you, and you cannot see it at times, but later on looking back, it all makes sense, at least most of it. And the painful situation that one has, they're the greatest teacher. It's not in the good times that I have grown the most. It is the painful suffering that changed my life, that changed my attitude, that helped me grow in my faith, in my strength, that I can sit here and tell you everything is going to be okay at the end. And I liked it. I saw this movie the other day where it says, everything is going to be okay at the end. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end. And I really enjoyed that. I hope this message helped you. Help you to strengthen your faith in God. That is a practice, transformation, a growth. I wish you a wonderful day.